You have that many turnovers and give so many plays away. I think 17 tough turnovers, and that's the same thing as last week. So I'll be honest, I really think we're better than we're showing. What does that mean? That's just better. So I told the team, we're going to get this right. I'm going to get this right, get the offense right, because played and eventually just kind of wore out. I thought we were able to control the line of scrimmage some with some power running game in the first half, but had the ball in the red zone twice, and yet again came away with their points. So really the same tale as last week, just versus probably a little bit more explosive offense that we got to away from.
What do you know about Jeff right now, and I guess just how do you evaluate his day?
I don't know. I don't know anything other than they said, hey, look, maybe like a high ankle, and then he wanted to go back in. I didn't see any really point of putting him in there. Obviously, we all of us have to take care of the ball better. It's two places that we've been that have been pretty loud, and so some of our speed, sweep, snap time, we've never had those issues before. We hit one. We were going to go for. We weren't going to kick a field goal. We were going to go for it on fourth down. We had it lined up third down, fourth down. Hey, we're going to pound the football here. We felt like we were starting to control the line of scrimmage, but the silent cadences and the gun with the motion really hurt us and kind of took some of that away from us. Some of the communication up front, some of the big hits in the background, the communication of what the play was. So I really have to do a deeper dive to look into sort of everything that happened. But, Jeff will be the first guy to say, well, we can't have that many turnovers, especially down in the red zone where they are. And, we turned the ball over twice inside our own 30, which led to points. So, again, that's why I say, I know everyone's going to be, as they should, upset and panic and those things. We're better than we're showing. But it's just words, and we have to put that into action.
Heinrich was warming late in the first half before halftime, and then Jeff went back out, and then went back out again after halftime. What was your thought process in putting Jeff back in this situation?
There was never a conversation about taking Heinrich out. Even with the cadences, I can't tell you yet.
You mean Jeff?
Yeah, there's never thought of putting Heinrich in. We have some plays for him, that we were going to potentially utilize. So he might be getting ready for one of those things. I think, for me, I won't be able to really comment, truly, because it's such a big deal to comment on the quarterback, right? So we know globally it's too many turnovers, but in terms of what exactly went wrong, was the center late with the snap, was the motion. I have to go back and look at those things. And then we had some good drives. We had a penalty all of a sudden, it had nothing to do with the quarterback. So for us, I think if you look at the year so far, I think we're probably taking one ball away, right? We've got two now, right, at the end of that game. So it's -6, and that is sort of the story that we've been trying to fix, and so I haven't got it fixed yet, and I'm going to keep doing it until we keep working on it until we get it fixed.
Matt, even with all this has happened in the first half, you score right out of the gate. In the second half, if you get a stop, you're right there. How big was that third down play that was deep, and then they go on and score? That was kind of a turning point, I thought.
Yeah, they had 3 big plays in the second half on third downs, right? One, they ran by us in zero coverage. We brought a max blitz. One was that play where they were kind of scrambling around. A lot of credit to Shador. He's running around making plays back there. And they threw the ball down the sideline, and then one was a run. And so those plays really tilted the field. And, we're not getting those same explosive plays. So I think, the great thing about the defensive staff that we have is they're going to go back and, put the hat on their head and see what they can do better. We had some really good things early on, some pressure, dropping out, not getting pressure. We've had a chance to get that step of game. You need to get your hand on the ball, pick a ball off, and run it, turn it back. We had some chances. We'll just keep getting better.
Do you think that the nerves of the team at this point is a little dangly because of the road games and the execution on meshes and the handoffs and things like that?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Sam. I think we're a good team. I really do. I think offensively, we're just kind of like a little bit of a shaky starting team. Obviously, the last 2 times being on the road, the wristband, and sometimes we have to call timeout because we're a little bit nervous about, was this the right personnel? And so, Sats do. I feel like when I listen to it, Sats doing the right thing, getting the right plays, getting the right play calls in, and just sometimes from the signal there, we're having little things everywhere, right? And so that's what I have to get fixed. I have to go back now and look and just, again, you come in with a certain identity that you want. Hey, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. And then I think guys have to settle down. At the very end of the game, we ran a little speed option, pitched it to Ramir. He got about 10, 12 yards. We called that same play in the first half versus the same defense and didn't pitch it. You know what I mean? And so the plays are there. And so, that's why, you won't get from me a sense of like panic, like, oh my gosh. It's more like, hey, I've got to get this team just to continue to just keep a little bit better. So I watch a lot. I'm like, hey, you ready to do this for another week with me? And they're like, yeah. So that's why, I stand here saying, we'll get it right. I mean, we'll get it right. But yeah, I think that's a really good observation. That's exactly how I feel.
Coach, the defense was dominant in the first quarter. What did Colorado do, if they did anything differently, that got their offense rolling?
Yeah, I think we wore down, but I don't want to take any credit away from them. I thought that they made an adjustment and they just threw a couple balls up on third down that hurt us, and the screen game. They went to the screen game because we were kind of showing Max Blitz, and even when we were dropping out underneath it, they did a good job of going and getting on guys. So, that was one of those games where we kind of needed to pick a ball off or something and get the ball to the offense and get something going. Because, it was 13-7, 14-7. Even the final score, we're kind of going for it on fourth down and all those things. I'm always going to play to win. I'm not going to play to not win. But I think Sean Lewis is a great offensive coordinator. They got a ton of skill. They got a great young quarterback. I think probably the screen game was the thing that helped them in the second half.
Take one more for Coach. It's a small thing, but the 3rd and 18 in the first half, like Jeff runs out of bounds. Were you guys trying to score in that moment? You're trying to run the clock so they didn't have any time outside?
Yeah. Just trying to go back to the whole synchronization. I don't want to make sure I upset, but that's one that we're hoping the quarterback doesn't go out of bounds. It's kind of an interior, if he's going to run it, scrambling around. We're hoping we stay in bounds to keep the clock moving. That's a lot to put on. The quarterback's trying to make a play. It's a lot to put on him. But we were trying to go down and score. Our whole thing there in that situation was get the first down and then take off, get into no huddle and go, and just some plays got behind us. So I think in the coming weeks you'll see. I hope you'll see the offense really take some steps. I think the defense is right, kind of where it needs. It's hard to say that at that point. Don't get me wrong. We have a lot of steps to take on defense, but really on offense, we need to make some steps moving forward. I'm happy to answer anything else. After a game like that, I should answer everything that you guys ask.
On the fumbles, do you view and address it differently when I think all of them weren't really what Colorado was doing, but more execution was there?
Yeah, I think part of it's, to Sam's point, going back and figuring out what it was. Is it the cadence? Is it the sound? And then, we're pretty simple, right? Like, we're still in field goal range, balls on the ground. We just want to jive on the ball. Not try to pick it up with one hand. So I think we have a team that wants to win so badly. Sometimes they're doing things that we're not really wanting them to do. And I think it's out of care. It's not out of not care. These guys really care. Even on the sideline, that was tough at the end to sit there and go through that. And I thought they just battled to the end. So, we try to address everything not emotionally, like just, hey, this is this. But it's way too many ball handling issues for the first 2 games. There's just no way to get around it. And that falls squarely on my shoulders. It doesn't fall anyway else.
You mentioned the timing of the turnovers, both at the spots on the field and at the time in the game. How did you see your guys react mentally? The way things seem to be going against them in that way?
Yeah, I thought the defense came out in the first one and played inspired and held them to a field goal. You look at the first half, I walked in the locker room, I was like, it was one play. They made one play against us in the first half. And that's not to take anything away from them. I just thought our defense played well. They hit the nice cross-country for the touchdown. We call that cross-country across the field. They hit that on us, and, we just didn't communicate great. Didn't get the call. So I didn't think they panicked. But when you kind of have that uneasiness that Sam was talking about to try to settle down, you need some success sometimes early to kind of settle down into a rhythm, and we just haven't had that yet.
Coach, this is going to be a really big game, whether or not Coach Sanders came here when it was on your schedule. CU, Nebraska rivalry. What was the atmosphere like, and how did it affect you on the sidelines or your players?
I don't think the atmosphere affected us. I thought it was a great college football experience. That's what you go for games like that. I think every game's a big game that we play in. So. They had, we know when we go on the road, there's going to be a packed crowd. There's a packed crowd in Minnesota. There's a packed crowd here today. And I'm sure when we go on the road next, there'll be a packed crowd.
What's your message, Coach, just with an 0-2 start, knowing that you've had such big games to open the year? How do you kind of get your guys to flush this 0-2 start, knowing the magnitude of what these first 2 games were?
Well, I'll tell you exactly what I said to them. I said, if number one, we'll get it corrected. If we stick together, which I know we will, we'll get it corrected. If there's any sliver of hope, if there's anything that's good, it's that in these moments where we're having 4 turnovers or we're, the game gets away from us, the guys get to see, coaches that they didn't really sign up to play for, right? Players sometimes they didn't even sign up to play with. They get to see how we all react, and they get to see that, I'm going to be the same guy every day. I'm going to take ownership of things I can control and try to get better. So I hope that we go closer. And I hope this is the type of thing that teaches our guys what wins football games. You can't turn the ball over and win. And then B, we grow closer as a team and closer as a program. And I recognize that there's going to be there's going to be things said and all that, but we will absolutely improve from this.
Is Heinrich the defined number 2 quarterback?
Yeah, Chuck has been dealing with just he had like a tweak, a little something, so he's kind of not purely himself. So Heinrich's, they were kind of together at one point, and then about a week and a half ago, good enough to practice, but just can't really truly be himself. And so, he went in once Heinrich went down, but we would go with Heinrich as an number.
Jeff only had 2 carries early on. Here to week 1, 19 carries. Was that just him taking what the defense was giving him? Was that a strategy going in to not have him run as much early on?
Yeah, they weren't going to let us run him as much. They were running, they were kind of mass charging. It felt like from the field. I had to go back and look at it, bring in the free safety when they thought we were in that play. But I thought early on we had 75 yards rushing in the first half. We were handling the ball off the gate and getting some good runs. I kept thinking like we could stay on the field. If we didn't have those turnovers, we're going to Dan would break, and that was kind of our game plan, keep them off the field. So once we got to the second half, it was a little bit further behind. We knew we'd have to open up a little bit with him running.
How much of what you wanted to do coming in, your game plan dealt with tempo, limiting possessions, controlling the pace?
Yeah, we knew versus their offense that we were going to have to, we were going to have to try to control the line of scrimmage, and we just thought the best way for us moving the ball was for us to be physical, for us to be downhill, for us to run the ball. And I thought, had we stayed on the field, and not had those penalties and converted some scores down in the red zone, that would have been a little bit more. Just unfortunately, kind of got a little bit away from us. My wife will come to every press conference after the game, so she's not here. She's not here any other reason other than she likes to make sure I know she loves me.
How's the machine?
I don't know. I don't know anything about machine. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.